Hi and welcome to Indigo Starfire. My name is Bevin, and in this video I'm going to be looking into the question, what does the person on your mind want to happen the next time they see you? There are three groups to choose from. Group 1 is the Apophyllite. Group 2 is the Amethyst. And group 3 is the Celestite. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups, or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to. I'll give you a minute to make your selection, and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you'd like to jump ahead. And up next is a close-up photo of the crystals to help you better make your selection. Hi, Group 1. You chose the Apophyllite. So I'm going to start off by getting some oracle cards to look into the question, what does the person on your mind want to happen the next time that they see you? And then I'll get into some message cards from their higher self, and I'll close the reading out with some initials. So let's get some details about those future plans with you. We have become, solitude, reach, and rest. So with this energy of rest, this is bringing to mind putting to rest some rumors or an impression that you have had about either them taking their time to open up about deeper emotions for you, or if this is a situation where you are in separation from them, to put to rest any kind of misconceptions that you might have that they have no intention of returning, or whatever might have taken them as long as it has to sort of make their way back to you. There is a sense of wanting to start off the next meeting or interaction with you with a deep heart-to-heart conversation, taking things slowly rather than rushing into purely a passion-based energy. Although with the element of solitude, there is the sense of how do I get you alone, beyond sort of clearing the air between the two of you, clearing up any misunderstandings, or again, kind of giving you a broader perspective of what they've been doing in their time apart, what they have learned, what they have figured out, or if this is somebody that you're still in a connection with, maybe you're just even getting to know. The sense of kind of a deliberate or gradual energy. There is the sense of wanting to have more one-on-one time with you. You know, things that might be a little bit difficult to kind of deal with other people around. This can talk about intense discussions, sort of sensitive matters that are needing to be discussed, making sure that there's plenty of comfort for the two of you to get as deep as far as those emotional conversations go. Maybe the shedding of tears might be necessary, tears of joy or tears of sorrow, depending on kind of like what has happened with you. And the sense here with reach talks about transformation to, again, kind of turn tears of sorrow into tears of joy, or to provide you with some kind of explanation, some sort of a perspective as far as longer range plans that they have with you, or even things that they have been doing or endeavoring on an emotional level within themselves in order to make themselves more emotionally available to what can develop between the two of you in the future. This is not the energy of somebody who just wants to come towards you very quickly for like a night of passion and then leave once again. There's the sense of, when I return, I'm here to stay. Or if it's somebody that you're still in a connection with currently and there's been no separation, there's an essence here of, let's take things to the next level. I want to make you comfortable enough to open up, to start to trust me, to know that I'm in this for the long haul. And the idea here with become also, again, kind of speaks to clarity as far as, you know, sort of what your understanding is with one another, maybe misunderstandings of the past. This could have to do with somebody that came on really hot and heavy initially and then has sort of put the brakes on or pulled back. You're uncertain where things stand, or it might just be kind of like a round and round sort of energy. Is this going anywhere? Is this person interested in anything on an emotional level, or are they just purely here or returning for kind of lust-based sexual sort of energies? There's a sense here of wanting to cross the boundaries that you have established with one another, even if that boundary is sort of like silence or distance, or if it's a current connection, you know, and you're just starting to get to know one another on those deeper levels. It's the essence of, I like what we have or what we had in the past, and I'm wanting to keep that momentum going, but to definitely provide you with some kind of communication, you know, unspoken thoughts and feelings, maybe even kind of expressing fears that they have that have led them to run from you in the past, or to even kind of move at a snail's pace in this situation with you, if you're still in connection with this person and it's a current relationship. There's the sense of you deserve some sort of context for their behavior or their approach, and it feels like that in and of itself is kind of a leap of faith. So they want to show you a different side of them than you have experienced, to kind of capitalize on what you both have at this point in time with one another, and to let you know that they see more to this situation. There's more potential here than they have let on, or they're ready to embark upon kind of building in a different direction. Maybe sharing some experiences in terms of past heartbreaks in love, so that it gives you a little bit different of an understanding about some triggers and wounds that they may be struggling to navigate through, or if you've been in separation from one another, things that they have been working on, kind of sitting with themselves in their darkest hour and starting to really unpack kind of, what have I been holding on to as far as a fear of getting hurt in love again, or any kind of bitterness or resentment from a past relationship. This might be somebody who had met you at a time in their life when they were still in the process of healing, or had not even really healed and just sort of stuffed away the wound from a past relationship. And it's almost like a spark or potential was there, but then they weren't necessarily prepared to dive in fully with you, emotionally speaking. And it feels like they've taken some time to really reflect on that. Is whatever that fear is, or the wound that hadn't been tended or hadn't healed properly, is that worth kind of missing an opportunity with you to either rejuvenate the connection or to take things further? And it's a sense of that they put something to rest within themselves, some sort of fear, some sort of hesitation, maybe a fear of history repeating itself, either between the two of you or in terms of like the worst experience of heartbreak that they had, that might have made them a little bit hesitant to sort of open up fully to another person. They've come to some conclusion that this does not serve their highest good. It doesn't serve the longevity or the long-term potential in this situation. And so it's almost like a choice has been made, a decision has been made to repeat the patterns or remain in the cycle that they've been in with themselves, or to take a leap of faith in the direction of, maybe in this situation, or maybe this time around between the two of us, love doesn't have to hurt. Love doesn't have to be something that is disappointing. Love can be something that kind of meets me where I'm at, and we're growing and evolving with one another. So let me get a few more oracle cards to see if there's anything else that wants to come through as far as what they want to happen the next time they see you or interact with you or encounter you. We have angels and masters, universal light, dreams, and Mother Earth. So there's definitely a sensual energy here with Mother Earth. So in addition to kind of like heart-to-heart discussions, you know, emotional communication, there's a sense of wanting like physical closeness. So this could involve a first kiss, or the first time being intimate with one another, or even kind of beyond that sort of, you know, intentions of starting a family with you, or moving in with you, getting engaged, getting married, kind of opening up to that line of discussion, seeing you in their future, kind of bringing dreams and visions of what they have had in terms of like a perfect partnership, an ideal partnership, or even the type of intimacy and closeness that would in some way kind of rewrite the script or the narrative that they have in their mind as far as their experiences of kind of like the optimal situation where they are able to be themselves. They're able to kind of reach for those dreams and have somebody that is kind of like right by their side, moving in the same direction. They're not wanting to limit it just to, carnal matters, physical matters. And they're not just wanting to limit it to, okay, we're going to get really emotional with one another, and I'm going to be vulnerable or express some things that, maybe I've never opened up to anyone about before, or it's been a long time since I've let somebody kind of into my heart in this way. There's a sense of wanting to, through actions in terms of their willingness to sort of answer questions that you might have, or volunteer information without kind of needing to be asked. It's a sense of almost wanting to shift or pivot the relationship between the two of you, or the connection between the two of you, in the direction of, I see more of a wide range of possibilities between the two of us, or I want to kind of meet you where you're at and take that extra step to let you know that I'm very proactive in terms of working toward our dreams with one another, or finding places where we might need to compromise or be mindful of kind of the the wounds and the triggers within one another, so that we are headed more in the direction of harmony rather than dissonance. And the idea here with universal light again talks about kind of clearing the air, clearing any sort of misunderstandings that you might have had about their motivations to either be a bit reserved or guarded, or to even sort of turn away from you in this situation. It may have been something where the idea of kind of you being their dream girl or their dream guy or their dream person, really envisioning like, I could make a life with this person, no matter how long you've known them, no matter what stage your connection is at. It feels like this person has at least once had more than a fleeting thought of, this could be the one. And that might have been something which really scared them, especially if this was kind of like a situationship, something where it's just sexual energy, it's just physical, no strings attached. It feels like they may have come to the point within themselves of understanding that they want more, or that they could see more in this situation. And it's almost something that it feels like has required them to sort of take a step back within themselves and to really say, am I ready to take that next step forward? What am I bringing to the table, or what is sort of lacking in this situation up to this point in time that can kind of, I could do better. I could look at these shadows or these sort of reservations within myself and do something about that in order to be able to provide or present, or just almost kind of energetically speaking, bring forth more openness than has been the case in the past, so that this isn't just a dream deferred, but it's something, that the two of you can kind of find a way to navigate beyond the present circumstances in the direction of, we're moving toward better times, or we're operating on the same page with one another. We understand where each of us is coming from. There may be a sense here too of almost like not knowing how you feel, especially if this is a situation where you've been in separation from one another. There's a sense of, do I still stand a chance in this circumstance? Do you still feel the same way? Has everything kind of, dissolved between the two of us? And if so, is it possible to repair the situation? So motivations that they may have had in the past to either hold back or to run from you, it feels like they've seen the light in that circumstance. And with angels and masters, again, the sense of the sky's the limit in this situation. Feeling very blessed to have encountered you in this life, or even if there was a period of separation between the two of you, it's almost the sense of this has been a blessing in disguise, because it's given them some greater clarity about the unique nature of your connection and almost an importance, or sort of an immediacy that needs to be the priority. It needs to be the focus, in order to sort of move beyond any cycles, any sort of dissonance between the two of you in the direction of, I want to try again, I want to start over, I don't want this connection to just fizzle out or fade away, but I want to give more, I want to do more, I want to become more with you in this situation. So let's get some message cards and see what they want you to know right now from their higher self. Okay, and they say, I realized what I lost when I let you go. I've loved you all along. So again, if you're in separation or no contact with this person, they're gearing up to make a reemergence in your life. They have seen the light. They feel that you are better together than apart. You're stronger together than apart. They miss the energy between the two of you. They miss when things were good. And it feels that they've made some headway as far as dealing with things within themselves, things from their side of the equation that might have been a block or an obstacle to this situation in the past. If this is somebody that you're currently in a connection with, or interacting with, dealing with, getting to know, there's a sense of bigger feelings that are starting to develop, that again might have taken them by surprise, caused them to sort of pull back their energy, and really kind of check in with themselves to say, am I ready to continue along in this momentum to take things to the next level, to not put limits on how far that level can go, all the way to the top, with this kind of angels and masters sort of energy there. And they also say, I think of you every day. That is how much I love you. So you're definitely on their mind. A conversation is on their mind, wanting to shift and pivot beyond just sexual energy, if this is a situationship, or, just kind of a casual connection between the two of you. And that might be very surprising when this person kind of comes forth with deeper matters of the heart, matters of emotions. That might be a first for some of you in this situation. And it feels to be something where there's a little bit of restraining, like not wanting to necessarily immediately say those words, I love you, but for some, that might be what they're coming forth to say. Finally ready to admit that, finally ready to admit their feelings, but there's a sense of, I see long-term potential between the two of us, or I want to re-spark where we were headed with that long-term potential, but I've learned from my past. I've learned from the mistakes that I've made in the situation with you, or even in other circumstances and situations, to where it's almost like slow and steady wins the race, feels like the energy that they want to bring forth. They also say, I'm just healing. Please don't take it personal. So again, an indicator that whether you're in a current connection or this is a no contact separation situation, the person that you're watching this reading for, they have reached some sort of milestone within themselves. They've let something go that has been an obstacle, wedge, or barrier to, deep connection with you. It feels like on some level they've connected deeply emotionally within themselves. And it's almost like, what am I afraid of? What am I running from in this situation? What's the worst that could happen if I just open my heart to love, or to love again? They also say, you mean the world to me. You are my sunshine. So that is that universal light energy right here. You bring a radiance, you bring a sparkle into their life. You inspire them to trust in love, to trust in this situation, continuing to develop and grow into something really beautiful. Or if you're in separation with one another, it's almost a sense of this person has spent a lot of time kind of contemplating, mulling things over. They've been in their shadow, maybe even dark night of the soul energy, and are starting to kind of have the strength and confidence to bring forth and illuminate some sort of truths about their feelings that they had hidden in the past. Maybe they denied feelings or cut things off very abruptly, kind of triggered and ran from you. Maybe they ghosted you and kind of just cut things off very unfairly. And there's a sense of almost wanting to bring forth a peace offering, but at the same point in time, understanding that to kind of take things to the next level and whatever that means for you and your circumstance, that it's kind of like gradually shedding the light on fears and insecurities, as well as kind of deeper intentions and feelings that have been hidden up to this point. They also say, I want to talk to you. So confirmation about like heart-to-heart discussions, or someone from the past wanting to return, wanting to not just come back in and repeat the same cycles you were in with one another before, but it's a sense of, I have transcended something within myself. I have grown and evolved, and I want to bring forth that evolutionary energy into this situation as well. They also say, you changed my whole direction. So you have helped them reframe the way that they look at love, that they look at partnerships, you know, maybe even your willingness to sort of not put pressure on them, to put a label on the situation, or if it's somebody that, you know, cut off contact or you've been in separation from, maybe you've respected their space. You've given them that opportunity to kind of see the light on their own. And that might have caught them really off guard. They could have expected a very different reaction from you, or people that they dealt with in the past. It might have been something that was a little more toxic or low vibrational if there were periods of separation. And so almost who you are, or how you've been handling the situation, if it's a present circumstance or a past circumstance, it's built a level of respect within this person for you, that they feel that their heart is safe with you. And they also say, I want your attention. So it might be very surprising the way that they come back in. It may be something that even if you're psychic or intuitive, there could be no indicators, you know, of this person's arrival. You might have felt their energy, felt that they were kind of on the brink of breaking the ice, or returning to you maybe on several occasions, and you're kind of at the point of, oh, there's their energy again. Okay, I'm not going to invest too much hope in that. And with this is almost the sense of them wanting the element of surprise to be on their side, to kind of catch you off guard in a way, you know, when they kind of present themselves. But it feels like that might also be something which is kind of the only way that they can cross that threshold between, you know, whatever has happened to kind of create silence between the two of you, and to really re-spark or to resurge this situation in a way that breaks the pattern that you've been in, and effectively kind of proves to you through their enthusiasm, through their kind of, you know, level of investment, or whatever it is that they say or present or explain to you, or that has happened during the period that you've been apart. It feels like it'll be more than just empty words. There's something that they want to really show you, that I have evolved, I have changed, I've seen the light, or I've let go of something that was kind of keeping me at a distance from you. And they also say, we will be together again. So another confirmation there for those of you in separation or no contact. Person on your mind is definitely strategizing, leaning deeply into the heart space, and wanting that energy of reunion, wanting a second chance or a third chance, or, you know, whatever that looks like. And it's a sense of, I've made some progress within myself, and now I feel ready. Now I feel equipped. Now I feel that I can kind of go the distance in this situation, more so than was the case in the past. So let's get some initials. It's going to be a first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Okay, we've got R, Q, D, F, J, S, F, I, D, G, P, T, U, W, L, and H. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of those out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn, where I do mostly channeled message readings related to topics other than love and romance, So if that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that out, and there's a link to that channel in the description box of the video. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 2. Chose the Amethyst. So I'm going to start with some oracle cards to get into those juicy details about what the person on your mind wants to happen the next time they see you, talk to you, or encounter you. And then I'll get into some message cards from their higher self and close the reading out with some initials. We have transformation, keeper of pleasure, contradiction, and reach. So there's a sense here with keeper of pleasure and contradiction that they are wanting to show you a softer side of them, as well as the intensity of which they are able to kind of be a lover, or to even kind of woo you with sweet nothings, a romantic side to them that might be very different from a bit of stoicism or almost like a hard exterior that they have had up to this point in time with you, or that they generally sort of present to the world or in romantic connections. There's a sense of them feeling safe to be that gentle self, to be that kind of softer side without feeling judged, without feeling ridiculed, or at least being willing to kind of go out on a limb, take a leap of faith, and see, would you be receptive to this aspect of who they are as well. There may be something where they have been kind of operating out of ego with you up to this point in time. This definitely could be a circumstance of, you're kind of dating one another, and there's not really a title or name or an understanding about kind of what you are to one another. So this is given the vibes of like situationship, or a sense of somebody that you may have been going through some cycles of like round and round with, where, they show back up into your reality. It's hot and heavy. It's very sexually based energy. And then as soon as it comes time to sort of discuss what's going on with us, where is this connection headed, or are you willing to invest in the long term, they pull back, they disappear again. They leave just as quickly as they kind of come back into your life, back onto the scene. And it feels like this is something where this time around, or it kind of like this phase of your connection with one another, they're understanding that that kind of intense and sort of hot and cold approach that has been the case so far in the situation, it's yielding very unsatisfactory results. You may have given this person an ultimatum, kind of like, come correct or don't come at all. And it feels like they really took that to heart. Or this might be something that, if this is kind of a current situation and it's sort of nebulous, it's undefined, like what are we to one another? There's a sense of them really fearing that you are starting to lose interest, or, that you're looking for other options, or that they've left the door to that wide open. And so there's a sense here of almost wanting to be more vulnerable with you, so that you understand that they may not necessarily be ready to make a serious commitment with you, or, define the connection, lay down roots with you, but that it's something that is definitely not out of the equation. That it may just take more time for them to start to kind of build up confidence that the nature of your connection is something which can be as harmonious or as fulfilling, kind of like outside of the bedroom, or outside of, just a circumstance where, you're kind of meeting for very specific purposes, or it's just kind of casual, no strings attached. This feels to be kind of the energy of someone, because it's a little bit almost like there's a shyness to it, which might be very different from the very egoic energy that they present. It's almost like if you like that confidence, how are you going to feel about the part of them that might be a little insecure about themselves, a little insecure about kind of the way in which they love, the depth and intensity with which they are able to, kind of meet people on an emotional level that might have been something that was really undervalued, or even people in their past might have taken advantage of that, and so they've kind of closed it off. This might be somebody who had kind of made a vow to themselves, no strings attached, or, just keep things casual and therefore limit the possibility of being hurt. But with this energy of transformation, it's again something where it's like they're ready to take a leap of faith in a way, to demonstrate to you a softer side to them, a part of them that they don't often show to others, or that has not been demonstrated up to this point in time. Or if it's a situation where it's like a back and forth, it doesn't really feel like runner chaser. It almost feels to be something where there just might not be an understanding beyond like this is surface level, or we've made no promises to one another, and in that way, kind of moving back and forth with one another, it mitigates the possibilities of being kind of emotionally hurt or crushed, because we've agreed once upon a time that there were no strings attached in the situation. That's no longer sufficient for them, because it feels as well with all this green energy like they've started to develop feelings for you, or there's a soft spot that they have for you, a tenderness that they have for you. This definitely could be something where, kind of somebody dating multiple people, maybe you're dating multiple people, you're just not necessarily at that place yet with one another of kind of having defined the situation beyond, kind of just getting together for a good time and then kind of going about your lives, or going about your day. It may be something where you hear from this person very randomly, very rarely, or sporadically, and there's a sense of not wanting to leave the door open in this circumstance to someone who comes in and is able to offer you almost a deeper level of commitment or more consistency than they have been able to, than you have discussed was even possible in the situation or circumstance, or something where you may have both agreed upon, like, let's just keep this casual. It's a sense of that no longer works for them. It might have been something that was very acceptable at one point in time, but getting to know you, spending time with you, or even just kind of the energy of when the two of you are apart, they might be feeling your energy. They're reflecting on things. They are admitting to themselves that they have feelings for you, or they feel deeper for you than they've let on up to this point in time. And rather than kind of just like keeping that to themselves, it's almost the sense of, I want to start to dip my toe in the water as far as, maybe showing more of that softer side, showing more of that emotional side to sort of test the situation. Is the chemistry, is the intensity, is the nature of satisfaction that we both experience when we're together with one another, hanging out or being intimate, or whatever it is that looks like. Can we have that same kind of understanding, or that flow, or that good vibration with one another if matters of the heart are introduced, or if it's something where they're hearing it almost gets like a little sappy. So it might be something where, they start to kind of pay more compliments, or almost the energy of starting to really kind of tell you how much they appreciate you, tell you how meaningful you are, the connection is, how much they enjoy your time, enjoy your company. But there's almost a sense of not wanting to move too quickly because they need to test the situation for themselves. But then there's also a fear of, like, they don't want you to think that they're coming on too strong, or that they've crossed some sort of threshold, or some kind of boundary. So it definitely brings to mind the idea of like a mutual understanding with one another. Something where it's almost kind of like, I don't know how you feel. We've not entered into this territory yet. And so rather than putting my heart completely out on the line, I'm going to drop these hints and clues. I'm going to kind of, express more about myself, or it even might be something where you start to hear from this person more. So almost kind of like the next time you see them or interact with them, it might be a longer duration, or, they start to open up about more personal matters, more emotional matters, but it feels to be something that there's longevity with this. It's not just a one-off. It's not just one conversation to kind of vet the situation out, but it's almost like showing up more regularly, introducing more of those kind of intimate details about who they are, or even their backstory, their history. Maybe not necessarily in terms of love and partnership or like other romances, but it almost feels like letting you get to know more about them as a person, sort of quirky aspects of them, or again, like a sensitivity or a tenderness that might not have been appreciated necessarily in other connections, and kind of how you respond to that dictates kind of a mapping out of a strategy beyond that of okay, then we're comfortable with one another, or I'm comfortable kind of sharing these parts of myself. And it feels like this is all with the intention of kind of building into something more than is your experience or understanding with one another at this point in time, or has been in the past. So let's get a few more oracle cards, and then I will get into the message cards. So we have divine wisdom, psychic development, grounding, and holistic health. So definitely confirmation of that idea of grounding. They're wanting to lock this connection in. They're not wanting to let you go, let you slip through their fingers without at least sort of testing the waters in the circumstance. Can we evolve and sort of move beyond our present interactions with one another toward the evolution of this situation into something more concrete, more stable, more open, more emotionally based, kind of moving beyond just that lust energy, or we're getting together for a good time but not a long time, and kind of an in and out energy, or just almost like there's no real understanding here. There may have been kind of an agreement between the two of you to see other people, or to have kind of an open relationship, or it's just not reached that place with one another, or it's just not the nature of your dealings with one another, where there kind of would be necessarily the expectation of loyalty, or the expectation of exclusivity, and yet something more has kind of developed within them. There are feelings that they now have for you that are, it feels like, still fresh and in their infancy. So this isn't like somebody who is realizing that they're madly in love with you, but there's a sense of almost like, I feel that this person could be really good for my emotional well-being. This person might help to kind of heal and mend whatever motivated kind of a vow within them to kind of keep people at an emotional distance, to not let anything transcend too far beyond the physical, to kind of cut and run as soon as feelings were in the situation. But it feels like they've caught feelings for you, or it's undeniable that there's something more. There's a spark, there's a chemistry. It goes beyond the surface level. And so it may be something that's, kind of testing them as far as their own kind of triggers and wounds. Am I ready for this? Am I ready to, kind of step beyond maybe being a bachelor or being a bachelorette, just being very unattached to other people, and sort of invest in more of the energy of exclusivity. So with the energy of divine wisdom, it feels to be something that they are almost haunted by not allowing you in on an emotional level up to this point in time, or in the past. If there had been times where you'd been dealing with this person and you could have felt, okay, we're connecting really deeply, this feels like the appropriate moment where maybe things can broaden, things can go into kind of this next level, or we could start to kind of talk about emotions or tenderness, or get a little more personal with one another. And it's almost like the moment may have passed by. Again, like at least on more than one occasion, it feels to be something that they are very aware of, or were very aware of at the time, that it's like, I've missed the boat in this circumstance, and time is not really on my side, or we don't have an understanding with one another, or I keep kind of giving mixed signals in this situation, and there's a sense of them understanding that your patience is finite. Their window of opportunity is finite, that if they don't start to kind of admit to themselves that they have deeper feelings for you than they've let on, or that they're starting to develop feelings, if they don't take some sort of action to kind of solidify their place in your life more, somebody else is potentially going to come in and win your heart or steal you away from them, which it feels might be very, very much a struggle for them, which is kind of, it's almost bringing to mind like dipping their toe in the water or taking baby steps to the next level, because it's almost the sense of there's no defined nature of our connection, or I've run from this person. Kind of it's like an in and out sort of energy. So what's the reason to feel jealous? What's the reason to feel possessive in this situation if there are no strings attached? And so this feels to be something that they're kind of wrestling with that. And rather than just leaving things to chance, this is the sense of, again, kind of gearing up to show you a tenderness, show you a softer side of them, and to really sort of see for themselves, do we still work when that element is kind of added into the equation, or is that something where maybe we're kind of better off just leaving it at surface level, or parting ways completely. It's almost kind of like they need to know for themselves sort of what's the nature of this, what's the long range potential here. So let's get into some message cards from their higher self and see what they want to tell you. Okay, and they say, my nerves get the best of me sometimes. So it feels like this person is getting butterflies at the idea of you, or when they interact with you, when they see you, when you're together with one another. This might even be something where you haven't been intimate with one another, and that can, be something where they're exploring the idea of that. What would it be to open up to this person emotionally? What would it be to, kind of transcend the boundaries between the two of us and enter into that romantic connection? There's desire there, but there's also kind of a fear of falling in love with you. Kind of having caught feelings, and if they admit that to themselves, if they start to take steps in accordance with that, kind of following their heart, are they ready for kind of hearing the ride of their life, which it feels like is what they equate with the experience of being in a romantic partnership with you in a very defined sense, or returning to kind of your life in a way that says, I'm here to kind of make more of a commitment to you than has been the case in the past. And they also say, I'm making plans. So there's that divine wisdom, kind of scripting out the possible things that could go right, things that could go wrong in this situation. Something about this person, it feels like, again, there's like a shyness here, or a sense of when they love, when they open up their heart, it's very hard for them to not go all in circumstances and situations, which really could have been something that did not work out to their advantage in the past. So it feels like whatever guardedness or wall that they have up around their heart, it's with very good reason, but you are someone who has managed to kind of steal their heart, or you have the key to their heart, and they weren't even looking for that. They weren't even intending that at this point in their life, or in terms of when they first met you, or when you first kind of got together, or hooked up with one another, or whatever the nature of that dynamic is. It's almost a sense of they had a certain idea of what the framework would be of that, or the limits, or the boundaries, and now they're being pulled to transcend those. They also say, I just need more time. So again, that energy of like dipping their toe in, baby steps. This isn't somebody, it feels like, that's coming towards you the next time to confess, that they love you. They've got these deep feelings. They see forever with you, but you definitely will notice, it feels like in kind of subsequent interactions, that they are a lot more tender. There's a softness to them. There's a vulnerability to them. A lot of personal information that they may start to share, to just sort of establish a different kind of trust or understanding between the two of you, or to try to test the situation. And like, if I let you into kind of these more intimate layers of who I am? Are you still going to, be fond of me? Are you still going to want to spend time with me? Is this going to be something where you are as engaged and kind of excited about your interactions with me as has been the case in the past? Or maybe there's been a lot that has been withheld, or has kind of, it's not necessarily been the appropriate time yet to present that. They also say, we will be together again. So this is bringing to mind the idea of not wanting to have history repeat itself in terms of like missed opportunity with you, moments in your interactions that would have been the perfect time to kind of, test those waters, open up about things on a more emotional level, that they chose not to do that. They chose to kind of withhold that truth in a certain way. And with that is the sense of kind of like you're not just going to wait for them forever, or the situation as it exists now, it's almost like maybe not sustainable. They could sense within you that kind of an impatience perhaps, or something about your energy, or even just a shift within them that's kind of like, I need to make a decision here. I need to do something to kind of step up the situation, or risk being, kind of like left by the wayside, risking you kind of evolving beyond them, putting up with sort of whatever the nature of the connection is, or the understanding, or just something that might have worked for you at some point in time. There's almost a sense of them anticipating or feeling like you would want more, presumably. You're not just going to be content with kind of surface level, no strings attached in a long-term sense. They also say, I know that I've put you through a lot of pain, and I'm in pain too. I'm sorry. So more of that energy of, at least on one occasion, there may have been the sense of like, okay, maybe things are gearing up to evolve in the situation. Maybe there's something more than we have experienced with one another up to this point in time, or that has been our understanding with one another at this point in time. They may have sensed, or even kind of seen in your eyes, seen in your energy, in your body language. You might have dropped hints, or even said things, and the response from them, or the reaction from them, was less than desirable. Clues and hints that you might have dropped, and they could have fallen on deaf ears, or might have resulted in this person kind of shutting you out, or being a little bit distant, being a little bit aloof. And there's an understanding that, that is something that you most likely won't tolerate, or there's a feeling that you're almost kind of losing interest, or losing hope, or starting to kind of detach yourself from them, almost like you want more for yourself. And so unless they're able to kind of provide more, they run the risk of becoming obsolete in your life. And they also say, I know that I've hurt you. I'm sorry. So another confirmation of wishy-washy behavior, hot and cold behavior, of vagueness, or even the idea of a situationship, that it's kind of run its course. It's time to decide sort of what happens in this situation. Does this kind of evolve to the next level, or is this something where you start to kind of fade away from one another's lives? They also say it's hard to admit that I was wrong. So this ties in, it feels like, to the vow that they may have made to themselves to not get emotionally attached. Kind of that no strings attached situationship might have been their preferred method of interacting. That might have been something that was a very outward or overt conversation and understanding between the two of you, or just based on your dealings with one another, it's kind of implied. But there's a sense here of that does not fulfill them in this situation. It's not what they want. It's not what they want anymore, but kind of taking that next step toward even admitting to themselves of wanting that deep intimacy and partnership with another person, not just physically, but on an emotional level, that might be something that is an actual, not just a want, but a need within themselves. And so they're having to kind of get out of their own way first and foremost in order to be able to kind of provide more to you. And they also say, I love you. So this is, again, tying in with these other energies as kind of somebody who's caught feelings, or is starting to admit that, there's more to this situation than meets the eye, or than they've led you to believe, or they've allowed themselves to admit. There's a fear of falling in love with you, and perhaps even just like a fear of love in general. So kind of an emotionally avoidant individual. But it feels like they're trying to kind of subtly and in a very kind of delicate way breach those barriers that they've kind of have around themselves, and to start to explore kind of another aspect or facet of what is possible between the two of you. So these initials can be a first, middle, or last name, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. BLA V U R L T E I P O and U. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of those out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn, and the format over there consists mostly of channeled message readings related to topics other than love and romance. So if that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that out, and there's a link to that channel in the description box of the video. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. You chose the Celestite. So I'm going to start with some oracle cards, and I will use these to look into the details of what the person on your mind wants to happen the next time they see you, talk to you, interact with you. And then I'll get into some message cards from their higher self, and I'll close the reading out with some initials. We have create, imagination, keeper of hope, and keeper of stories. So there's a sense of unfinished business to this energy, a sense of I don't want our story to be over, I want another chance with you. This is an unfinished symphony between the two of us, not liking how things ended between the two of you, or how you left things. Your last conversation has not been sitting well with them, almost like haunted by memories of you. So this is giving already the vibe or impression that this is like a no contact situation, or somebody you're in separation with. You've been weighing heavily on their mind, feelings that they may have denied in the past, or you know, they ran from the situation, things getting ready to kind of move to the next level, and they pulled the plug on the circumstance. There's a sense of really regretting that decision and wanting to be very open and honest with you about kind of their motivations for that, fears that might have led to that, or even the sense of a series of conversations or an apology, or almost kind of like, what do I need to do to prove to you that I am willing to do what it takes in order to salvage this situation. A sense here of wanting to kind of create the life of their dreams with you, sensing and seeing that you really are that perfect person. You are that ideal match. You are the one that they have been looking for. This could be somebody who, if you've been in separation for a while, you know, relatively speaking, or even kind of a short while, relatively speaking, they may have been exploring other options. They've dated around, maybe you've dated around, and there's a sense of nobody matches up to you. Nobody gives them that same kind of feeling or spark within, which paradoxically they could have run from before. And now that's something that it feels like they are in the pursuit of, but are very fixed on the idea of you. Almost like nobody else will suffice. I want you. The heart wants what the heart wants. I can't get you off my mind. Out of sight does not mean out of mind in this situation. So it feels to be a very lengthy series of discussions or a level of rigorous honesty that might have been lacking in the situation in the past. A sense of this person having undergone some sort of evolution, maybe even like dark night of the soul energy, spiritual awakening, kundalini awakening, all these things that could have been very intense, above and beyond, sort of like the emotional experiences between the two of you. It feels like energetically there might have been a lot more to the situation and to the story, things that they hadn't let you know about that were happening. Spiritual phenomenon, ascension symptoms, feeling your energy all around, being bombarded with signs and synchronicities, something that even if this was a spiritual person to begin with, it's almost the idea of hearing about these things, researching these things, whatever their experience in matters like that had been prior to meeting you, the experience in the past with you. And it feels like even still to this present day, it's above and beyond what they had anticipated, what they had experienced, maybe even things that are very much outside of the box to where there's no point of comparison. They may have been walking a very solitary path as a result of that, kind of seeking spiritual answers within themselves, or even kind of looking at the nature and the meaning of what's going on with this person. Why do I feel haunted by this connection, haunted by their energy, or feel that it's almost something where they could have kind of pushed it away or been very frightened of it. There's almost a sense of, I understand you to be my companion, my person, my kind of soulmate, maybe even like a twin flame energy, some kind of soul connection. It's quite likely that they're either comfortable with that definition, they've come to that realization on their own, and that might even be kind of the nature of what they're wanting to happen the next time that they see you, letting you know that you were right if you had suggested such things to them in the past, or maybe even something where they're not aware that you could resonate with those ideas and concepts. And so it might be kind of a pleasant surprise that there could be a meeting of the minds in that capacity. They're presenting kind of like, okay, there's this twin flame phenomenon, or have you ever heard of soulmates? Well, I think that you're my soulmate, or you're my person. It goes far beyond just, I think we're a good match with one another for very mundane and practical reasons. It's almost like they've evolved to some greater capacity to kind of hold space for this connection, and are very excited, enthusiastic, proactive about bringing forth that truth to you, to kind of be vulnerable and sort of go with the flow and participate, rather than kind of fighting the currents of these energies and this experience between the two of you that sort of defies logic. It defies understanding. It defies reason or their experience, in matters of the heart, or even interpersonal relationships with other people prior to meeting you, while you were together, or interacting with one another, or, in one another's lives, even kind of during a period of separation, and other people, romantic or not, that they may have encountered. It's almost like nothing compares to you in this situation. This is the energy of somebody who's done running, is wanting to kind of create a new narrative, create a fresh start between the two of you. Something as well that's kind of building from the top down in this situation. So this does not feel like the energy of somebody who wants to kind of come back in and kiss and make up necessarily in just a purely sexual way, although that can be a component of that. But there's almost a sense of there's a lot that they want to explore. There are many bases that need to be covered in this situation. Not wanting to exclude that kind of energetic, spiritual, higher level component that they have come to really understand within themselves, and within kind of whatever the nature is of that connection between the two of you that defies explanation almost. So let's dig a little bit deeper and see what else they want to happen the next time they see you or interact with you. So we have universal light, creativity, family, and holistic health. So double confirmation there of create and creativity. So there's a sense of wanting to create a fresh start with you, write the next chapter of your story with one another, or really tap into and explore some potential in this situation that they may have shied away from. This can definitely talk about, if this was a situation where maybe it was never a sexual relationship, you weren't in an actual connection with one another, there was just a lot of chemistry, a lot of potential, a lot of things happening energetically, spiritually speaking, and they could have run from that or sort of shut down to the idea of that, shut down emotionally speaking. There's a sense of wanting to breach those boundaries and barriers and not just provide some kind of vindication or the sense of like you were right, or I miss you, I feel something for you, I feel something more for you, I can't kind of shake this energy, I can't shake this connection. More than just providing that kind of like verbal confirmation or a series of conversations, there's almost the sense of, I want us to be in a relationship, I want us to have kind of the full package, I want to explore all of the uncharted territory between the two of us, kind of making up for lost time here. So this could be a situation where you've been in separation for a while. The idea with holistic health, again, kind of evolving beyond sort of whatever your experience with one another was in the past, doing what it takes to kind of heal the rift between the two of you, earn back trust, and there's a sense of not just wanting to repair and kind of repeat whatever you were defined as to one another before, but it's a sense of like, I want to go all the way with you. I want to kind of rise into love as opposed to experiences in the past of falling in love and then falling apart when things kind of have run their course. So this may be a very spiritually evolved individual. They may have come through some kind of dark night of the soul with this universal light. They have become the light within themselves, or they're seeing the light and importance of you as a person, as a spiritual being having a human experience. And there's a sense of their own unique path in some way that in the past they may have thought was very divergent from yours. They're finding kind of this convergent space. There's a sense of, despite our dissimilar aspects within self, there's a core truth and a reality here that is unshakable. It's undeniable. Things that you might have brought to the table or had mentioned to them in the past, maybe even ideas about twin flame and soulmate that they could have scoffed at, they could have laughed at, or that just kind of sent them packing. It's a sense of, that all makes sense now, or they've reached this conclusion on their own sort of unique path, their own experience with the divine, something within themselves that they've transcended, now allows them kind of the space to go with the flow of that, to have an acceptance of that. It feels that they've evolved or transcended into more of like a healed or divine version of themselves. With this idea here with family, this can talk about like literally creating a family with you, or creating some sort of closeness, seeing you as soul family, soulmate, kindred spirit. They might also want to introduce you to their family, bring you home to meet the parents, or, friends groups, things that they might have been a little bit kind of nervous or uncertain. That might have been a wedge or a barrier between the two of you in the past, kind of this intense spiritual connection. And where did that fit into kind of the life or the reality that they were living? Other people in kind of their life, maybe family or friends, something as far as like tradition and culture, that it's almost like, where is there room or space for this type of a connection that is different from what other people around me or are experiencing, or what I've been taught is the nature of kind of partnerships and interactions, or even spirituality and energy in and of itself. They could come from a very traditional background, and it feels like in some way have kind of expanded beyond some sort of rigidity that almost prohibited or limited an inclusiveness in terms of what they'd experienced with you. Even things on their own as far as like spiritual awakening, ascension, all these kind of sort of outside of the box or a little more uncommon sort of experiences for the average person. It's almost a sense of, now they're a believer. Now they almost have no choice but to kind of walk the path that has been revealed to them by the divine, by their higher self. Energetically speaking, this definitely feels to be somebody who has transcended from the version of them that you knew before. And so now there is this interest in kind of creating inclusivity as opposed to excluding this situation any further from their life. So let's see what they want you to know from their higher self right now. Okay, and they say, I want to be with you, I choose you, I love you. So definitely a confirmation there of somebody returning from the past, wanting to let you know that, they have feelings, they love you, they miss you, they're still thinking about you, they've explored other options or even just retreated within themselves to kind of find their own truth, discover who they are. And in the process of that, kind of when they've come home to themselves, it has made more sense kind of who you are to them, or ways in which the two of you are really good for each other that they might have not been able to see before. This can also be somebody, if they've been at a distance from you, who has been watching you from afar, maybe tracking your progress as far as your spiritual journey, checking in on you and kind of seeing you from a different lens or a different angle. The more that they have grown and evolved within themselves, they're able to understand you more, or understand the resonance between the two of you, almost like you're the perfect match for one another, the yin to one another's yang. You're kind of that missing puzzle piece that sort of completes them, makes a version of them make more sense. They also say, I know that I've hurt you and I'm sorry. So an apology, a long overdue apology, or openness, honesty, heart-to-heart conversation that you may have been waiting for. You may have even waited, given up hope. You've released the person, and this is when they come back. Nothing is an accident. It feels that both of you kind of needed time on your own, or you're walking your own separate paths to kind of come to a place of transcendence within yourselves, so that you would have the capacity to hold all the energetic potential here, this high vibrational energy, and go above and beyond kind of your usual experiences of love and partnership, something that is kind of more than just the average relationship. And it's taken time for each of you to spiritually prepare for that, and this person definitely feels to be on that brink of taking action. They've completed some major cycle, or they've evolved and grown to such a capacity. They've kind of gone from the caterpillar to the butterfly, and now they're meeting you at your frequency, and kind of ready to offer you everything that they weren't able to, or that they were unwilling to in the past. And they also say, I just need time to work things out. Know that I want you. Please be patient. So fine-tuning some details as far as how they make that grand re-entry into your life, wanting it to be memorable, special, and something that you take very seriously, considering what has perhaps happened between the two of you in the past, or sort of a lengthy separation, the way that they ended things or left things. It's a sense with this energy here, it's going to take more than I'm sorry or hey, how's it going, that there's something more. It'll be gradual kind of, building of trust, or a sense of you maybe being a little bit guarded, like, is this person for real? Are they serious? Like, what do they want? Why are they coming back now? Are they just going to, kind of play with my emotions, or, play mind games? Or are they really serious? Have they truly grown and evolved? Or is it something where we start to build with one another and then they get frightened and kind of run again? So all of these things feel to be kind of questions that they are almost kind of putting themselves in your shoes and trying to leave no stone unturned as far as what they need to bring to the table, or what they need to say in order to prove consistency with you, prove that they're serious about a fresh start, or rejuvenating the situation, making amends, reconciliation energy. And they also say, right now, I just need your love. So this is kind of giving the idea of this person has made a lot of changes in their life overall. They've created some kind of satisfaction for themselves, some kind of stability. They may be living a very different lifestyle than you last remember. Their priorities are different. A lot of things might have changed about them, and it's almost like the missing piece is that true love. It is that person. It is that one. It is that soulmate, and that is you. And they also say, I want to be vulnerable with you. So feelings that may have been denied or unexpressed in the past, they are wanting to share those with you. Not just kind of refer back to the past and say, when I said I didn't love you, it was a lie. It's almost the sense of, I loved you then and I love you so much more now, even though that love has somehow grown through the distance, through us being in separation, having not spoken to you, having not seen you, even though they may be watching from afar, but like not interacting with you directly, nevertheless, they find themselves to be even more in love with you, or at a place where they're willing to admit that, which might be a big step for them compared to the version of them that you were dealing with in the past. They also say, I don't want to miss my chance with you. So again, a very proactive energy, somebody wanting to return from the past, wanting to give more, to be more open than they were before, so that this isn't just kind of the sense of an overdue apology and vindication that's provided. There's a sense here of, I want you to know how I feel, and I also want you to know that the future that I envision or that I'm working toward, you are a key or essential element to that. It's almost like their best life isn't as good without you by their side. And they also say you deserve more. So again, kind of taking their time a little bit, but there's also a hasty sort of energy where they don't want to leave you waiting much longer, but they're very kind of focused on the details, maybe even planning something very special, like a big surprise, something memorable, something that's a big declaration of love, that kind of the way in which they approach, or the nature of kind of what they want to open up about. It feels like those actions will speak so much more than the words themselves, to kind of make sure all the bases are covered, to let you know that they're very serious about this reemergence in your life. They're very serious about choosing you, investing with you, building with you, growing with you, kind of repairing the situation, and moving forth with you into the future. And they also say, you will always be my secret love. So again, feelings that might have been unexpressed or denied, this person is gearing up to express those things, to let you know that they love you, that they still love you, that they love you more even now that you're gone, or are kind of at a place within themselves where they are spiritually, emotionally, energetically, able to, even physically, if they needed to sort of cut some things out of their life, make some healthier choices for themselves. It's almost like, I've done what's best for me. I've made the preparations, or I'm nesting within myself and within my life to be able to move towards you with an invitation to take, have me in your life, or take me back, or to kind of have that start. Maybe it's like a false start situation. So to really give this love story a chance to grow and develop, and for the two of you to explore what feels to be limitless possibilities, long-term future potential here that they really see with you. No longer wanting to kind of keep these feelings hidden, but planning something as far as bringing those forth in a way that's very memorable, and that lets you know that they're very serious about their efforts to kind of repair or rebuild in this situation. So these initials can be a first, middle, or last name, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. You've got G, V, I, Y, Y, A, R, G, S, D, R, C, M, B, T, F, L, J, and P. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I also sell handmade jewelry, dream catchers, and sun catchers if you're interested in checking any of those out as well. And I've launched a second channel here on YouTube, which is called Lady of the Dawn, where I mostly do channeled message readings related to topics other than love and romance. So if that sounds interesting, I invite you to check that out, and there's a link to that channel in the description box of the video. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.